This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Danny Nemesis, and you're watching Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Danny Nemesis.
What's up?
I'm good. How is the creator today?
I am. It's been a long day, but I'm good.
Well,
Just getting
good.
done.
Continue. I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just saying, I'm just getting a lot of things done, just prepping for, what's coming next.
And that being said, what is coming next for the creator?
So, show-wise, this Saturday, on December 13th, I am ring announcing for a lucha show for MWC here in Brooklyn, New York. And then the next show for Battle Club Pro, I'm ring announcing on, January 25th. Yes. I'm trying to get my days right.
Pull up that good calendar.
Yeah, it's a lot, just so much information always coming my way.
Oh yeah, unfortunately I know what you mean. My calendar is pretty packed with dates and times as well.
Right, you get it.
Oh yeah. Where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
So my social media, my Instagram and TikTok is Danny Your Nemesis. I have Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm hardly on that, but if you want to follow, it's Danny Nero30. I'm mostly on Instagram. That's where the majority of my stuff is at. If you want to get merch or whatever, there is a link on my bio on Instagram. That's where you can just find me on any other social media. It's the easiest way to find me. But yeah, at Danny Your Nemesis on Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Nice.
All right, let's get into it. You work for Battle Club and vice versa, the Fallout Shelter. Could you tell us about your relationship with the company?
So I started working for Battle Club right after the pandemic in 2021 on April. And then we started the Fallout Shelter, which, for those who don't know, that is the wrestling school for Battle Club Pro in Long Island City. The very next month in May of 2021. So I've been a part of the Fallout Shelter since the very beginning. Battle Club Pro, they contacted me for some artwork, which of course we to this day I still do artwork for them. When it comes to creating championships, the mural that is in the Fallout Shelter, the Battle Club X logo, that is me. I also did that wall. And then when we did the first student show in the Fallout Shelter, that's when I started doing commentary for them, for the student show. A few months after that, I got moved up to doing commentary for Battle Club Pro. And then in the beginning of this year, January, I started off as the official ring announcer for Battle Club Pro.
And how has that been for you to go from color commentary to announcer?
It's a challenge. Just because it's for one, when you're doing commentary, you're not on screen. There's a very, very different prep when it comes to doing commentary. You want to, as a color commentator, you're telling the story of what's happening with the ring. The way I go about that is pretend that they don't know who anything or anyone is, and I do my best to inform and tell that story. Then going from color commentary to ring announcing changed the dynamic of everything, just because ring announcing, you have to project your voice 3 times more. You don't want to destroy your vocal cords by the time you're done with the show.
Right.
Wardrobe changes. Now I'm on screen. I feel like I'm the one that gets a good chunk of screen time just because I'm there introducing everyone every single match. I hyping the crowd between matches. It's a lot. A lot of interacting with the fans too. So that it took me a bit just to get that ball rolling. A lot of tape study, a lot of just studying the best people to do it. I went from studying Joey Styles for commentary, which I emulated a lot of his style when I was doing that, to just imitating the better ring announcers, and also picking the brains of the local ring announcers. Shane Fair, shout out to Shane Fair, love that guy. So yeah, I remember having brief conversations with Sam Lanterna, just saying hey, how do you guys do this? And then just trying to get good at it. I love what I do. It's fun. I feel like one of the things I always say is that the best part of doing this is the fact that I like it so much. So yeah, the transition was definitely interesting though, just because it was out of the norm for me. I'm an artist. I do artwork. I illustrate. I paint. And then now here, and then I'm very antisocial, which a lot of people don't believe, but I'm over here interacting with fans and talking in front of hundreds of people.
Right.
And and then after shows, I'm kind of just trying to escape. But but yeah, so yeah, the transition was definitely interesting.
Well, let's backtrack a bit. How do you go from just creating, artwork and designs for Battle Club to actually doing, commentary proper? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not, classically trained in, the pro wrestling world.
Well, I've been a part of Battle Club since 2021, but I've been in the wrestling business since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't super brand new. Of course, doing the student show was a test run, just to see how it went. It wasn't gonna go anywhere, and if I bombed, I bombed, and they probably weren't gonna take me back. Which truth be told, no one's ever guaranteed a spot in the business ever, no matter what the role is.
Oh yeah.
So I obviously, when I brought up the idea, me being a part of the company and just being professional all the time and everything, I suggested the idea. I was given the opportunity, and when you're given an opportunity, no matter what you're doing, you always have to give it your 1000%. So I did my homework. I studied. I did what I had to do, what I felt was necessary, and I gave it my best, and I guess my best was good enough. So, and it's one of those things where it's just shout out to Joaquin Morales. He's one of those guys. He's the owner of Battle Club Pro. He's one of those guys that he gives opportunities, but it's not just a given opportunity where you have to give it your best. It's there. I know I'm gonna sound biased saying this. Battle Club Pro, we like our best.
Mm-hmm.
We pride in trying our best to give the viewers, the fans, or whatever, the best product we possibly can, and I kept that in mind. So I wanted to, I came prepared, notepad, just water, because you're talking for hours,
Right.
and just a lot of prep. And, I guess the professionalism spoke louder than it should. And here I am now.
And what did that opportunity kind of mean to you that he, said, yeah, go for it? Because, knowing a lot of people in the business, not a lot of promoters would actually give that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right. But and this is not to pat myself on the back or anything. I feel that I'm one of those people that I do take the business serious. I do love professional wrestling as a art form, as a sport, as an entertainment form. So I feel that carries with me. Like, the good thing about being professional and doing everything the way I like to do it, at least, or I like to approach things, shows. After shows, I don't just go home. I go right back to the promoter. How was I? Is there any feedback? Just showing that you care,
Right.
So I feel like that's the reason the opportunity was given to me to begin with. It wasn't because I was just trying to fit in or whatever. It's because I care, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily do, is care. And so the fact that he gave me that platform, that he introduced me to this opportunity, felt rewarding, if anything, because it showed that my hard work and my professionalism mattered, and it showed. And people notice these things.
Right. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I mean, you've done a lot of things around the business. Have you ever considered actually getting into the ring proper as a wrestler?
Never say never. I've done so much in the business, from creating graphics to creating championships to, murals, ring announcing. I always say there's the three things I've never done, which is promote, referee, and wrestle. But time will tell. You never know. I will not say that it's not a thought that hasn't crossed my mind, but I'm also very happy with the role I have currently, which is, I do a lot of like design for people backstage, for, I've done logo work for podcasts, stables, you name it. I've done my resume is pretty big, and I'm happy where I am, but I'm also one of those people that it's never enough, so you never know. You never know where you'll see me next, or what I'll end up doing. Next thing you know, I am wearing tights and I'm in the ring, getting chopped. So
Yeah. Being in the ring with Sammy Chaos does not sound like a good time to me.
well, listen, fun fact, Sammy Chaos is my best friend. So a lot of, like, there's been spots where she's, ragdolled me around, and it's fun. But I also do not recommend anybody to get in the ring with Sammy Chaos and not expect her to, kick your ass.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sammy Chaos.
Shout out to Sammy. Friend of the show. She's obviously killing it in Battle Club right now.
100%. Everywhere she goes. She just came from Japan not too long ago.
Oh, absolutely. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike Laura is the trainer at the Fallout Shelter, right?
So the Fallout Shelter has a few trainers. So Mike Law is one of them. His brother Steve Dumeng, huge. He's probably one of the best referees in the game. He's also a trainer. Jorge Santi also is a head trainer, and Prince Ahmed is a trainer at the Fallout Shelter.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, you got a Mike Law story?
A Mike Law story. I have a few. So first of all, I shout out to Mike Law. I have a huge appreciation for Mike Law, and one of the highlights with me and Mike, the Colossal Collective. I designed his logo.
Awesome.
I also created the Battleweight division. And he is the first ever Battle Club Pro Battleweight champion. Backstage, he's a great mind to pick. He very knowledgeable in the business, 20 plus years. He's taking a lot of people under his wing. Trained a lot of folks that are now taking bookings everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just being in class, listening to him, not only training the students, but like sharing the knowledge that he has. If anyone that's in the business ever runs into Mike Law, definitely pull him aside and pick his brain, because he's just knowledgeable. He's been in the ring with a lot of great, phenomenal talent everywhere. And the guy knows his stuff. And anyone that gets in class with him expects to walk out of there knowing more than you did when you got out, than when you came in. Excuse me. He's just really good. He recently just came back from an injury, and I went to the fallout shelter. This guy's running the ropes like he's never missed a beat. So phenomenal talent. Mike Law, he's one of my favorite people in general. Really good guy.
All right. No, you mentioned it. The Nemesis Battleweight. Your creation. Can you tell us about it?
So the Battleweight division, that was an idea that I randomly, in conversation, we were talking about how just putting things out to the universe, and then we just get things, hopefully things just work out or whatever. We're talking about stuff about the fallout shelter at the time. It's me, Joe, I forget who else was there. I think Mr. Martinez was a part of that conversation. It's been a bit, so we're talking for 2-3 years back. I've always been a fan of cruiserweight wrestling in general, whether it's heavyweight, cruiserweight, junior if you're in Japan. I've always been a fan, just watching tapes, but Super Junior, Super J Cup, all that stuff. And I told Joe, I was like, hey, I want something like that for Battle Club. I think it's just pure professional wrestling. And it started off as an idea as the smaller guy belt, but it quickly started evolving into more of what TNA had with the X division. That it wasn't about a weight class. It was about
no limits.
The professional wrestling at its best, at its purest. And we just started talking, spitballing names. At first, I was going to be narcissistic and call it the Nemesis division. But I was like, nah, it's too on the nose. And it's so, it just sounds like it's a me thing. And I didn't want it to be about me, because it's not about me. And Joe suggested, hey, how does Battleweight sound? I was like, that sounds phenomenal. Let's do it. So he's like, design a belt, get it made or whatever you need to do. We'll bounce ideas off. We worked on a championship. It's, in my opinion, one of the best looking championships that I've designed myself. And of course, the Battleweight division, all the Battleweight matches, they all hold a very special place in my heart, because it's something that I came up with, that I saw come to fruition. And it's always just very rewarding to see something you created be so successful. I dare say, you watch any match with anyone that has either held the title or competed for the title. Some of the best matches, when Jocko's title reign was phenomenal. Mike Law, we mentioned him earlier. His title reign, awesome was as well. We had a lot of talent hold that championship and just absolutely kill it. And right now, currently, Dave Rivera is the champion, and he, again, his first title defense, phenomenal match. It's just always so rewarding to see something that you came up with be so good, and is I'm very appreciative of everyone that's been a part of that they've always given it their best because they know what the title signifies.
Is that something that is a moment that you kind of take in the moment, like, wow, this just happened, or is it something that kind of has set in afterwards, like, yeah, I made that?
You know, it's funny because during showtime, I'm so like on showtime mode. I'm so like into it. But then when I like watching the shows back, like when they come out on Title Match or whatever. And then yeah, it's like wow, like I it's still surreal. I mean, it's been a few years and it's still surreal. Like damn, I this is my thing. Like this is something I came up with, and it's with everything. Like just like when even like the simple things, like when somebody gets geared that's designed by me and then they actually get it made and then they're wrestling with it. It's like, damn, I designed that. That's really cool. So it's always humbling. I guess is a great word to use. Like the fact that a lot of people trust me to design stuff for them and they actually like it. Like, you know, I always give it my best, and your best is the best you can do, right?
I mean, when you walk into the Fallout shelter, I mean, I can't imagine the first thing you don't see when you walk in there is your logo, no?
Yeah. Big Battle Club X logo that I hand painted. Like, and I just feel like it's so rewarding to see that there because it's not just the mural itself. It's like every time there's like a picture or a video and you see that in the background and it looks great. It's great for photo op. There's so many people that took pictures with that logo behind them, and this is really, really cool to see something that I worked on that's appreciated the way it is.
And you know, you mentioned, you know, you make the belts. You've made a couple of belts.
Right.
You know, I think it's like one thing to see, you know, like a logo on gear or logos on, you know, flat surfaces. But
Mm-hmm.
to actually have, you know, something you created in, you know, bona fide steel hardware,
Yeah.
what is that like? How does that feel?
So first and foremost, I have to openly admit I am the biggest belt mark ever. When it comes to being a mark championships, I can talk about championships forever. Just like the actual physical thing. Um, but that is a different level of rewarding. Um, just because it's like for me a championship, it's one if not top three most important things in professional wrestling because ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Like all these wrestlers, they train hard or whatever, they feud, they have all these storylines to ultimately win this championship, right? So even like the process behind even designing one, it's like a lot for me, right? It's not just, hey, let me just draw this little cool thing and whatever. Like there's a lot of thought process that goes behind drawing it. So like when you finally get a design that you tell yourself, yeah, this is great, this is it, right? And then you know you speak to the belt makers and all this other stuff and you just tell them the vision, and once it's all said and done and then you get that stuff by the mail and you open it up and you hold it in your hands, it's a different level of rewarding because it's, and a lot of people don't understand the work that goes behind designing this piece of hardware that, you know, everyone goes ooh and ah, and then, you know, there's a lot that, so yeah, the level of reward that goes behind a finished product that is a wrestling championship, it's, you know, it's great, it's phenomenal.
What was the first title that you actually designed?
There's two answers to that question.
Okay.
Okay, so the first title I designed that I got made was for myself, and that is the first Nemesis championship. That it's just something I did for myself. The first championship that was contested for, that was for an actual company, was the Battleweight Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's two firsts.
What what was that moment like when the promoter Joe he came to you and said you get to actually design the title yourself?
Oh, it's humbling because, again, like I mentioned before, he trusted me with my skill set to do something that, it's not just for me, it's not just for him, it's for like you have to keep in mind that this is something that's going to go on, on social media, on promo pictures. Wrestlers walk out of that curtain and they're showing the crowd this belt, and if it looks great, people will let you know, and if it's trash, people will let you know. So it's one of those things that I felt honored that he trusted me to be able to design this myself. And like I said before, when somebody gives you a task, I'm gonna give it my 1000% just to make sure I deliver.
Another title that you made was the Forever Evil Championship, which I must
Yes.
say is very badass.
Thank you. That's the second belt in my personal collection.
No, I mean, you mentioned it, you're a belt guy. What's your
Yes.
favorite title design?
That I designed, or in general?
In general.
The version for New Japan Heavyweight Championship. I to this day, I don't know any other championship out there in any promotion that looked better. Not even the current New Japan title looks better than that one. Version 4 New Japan, 100%. I call it the Okada belt.
There you go, the Okada belt.
The Okada belt, because he's the one that's probably rocked it the best.
I mean, he certainly held it for enough time to be associated with it, I'd say.
Very, very true.
Outside of WWE, I would definitely say, yeah, that is definitely that's the prettiest title that looks equally as prestigious.
Right.
And I was very upset that they did away with that design.
Yeah, I was bummed out. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate it, but I feel like they definitely took a few steps backwards with it.
Unfortunately, I feel like New Japan has just taken a few steps backwards, just generally speaking, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what title are you maybe not the biggest fan of?
Oh man, I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this one. I don't like the WWE Championship, or what is it? I don't like the big W being the I feel like there was not a lot of effort that went there. I mean, no disrespect to whoever came up with the design, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it is my least favorite. I feel like their mid-card titles look better. But, I feel like just the direction that they're going, it makes sense why they have that. But personally, it's not my favorite.
I gotcha. All right. Now, going back to, your time on commentary, you actually got to commentate with Pete Rosario.
Yeah.
A friend of the show, great individual. I can't imagine that wasn't a learning experience being side by side with Pete, no?
Yeah, I was very, very new at the time to commentary. And it was interesting because it was a very unique show. It was a two company show. It was the Fallout Shelter versus IFC. It was a promotion that it was short lived, but it was it had its bangers.
Yep.
And yeah, I remember. I mean, I've known Pete for a bit before that, so it wasn't super nerve-wracking. Pete and I, we have good history with each other, and it was it was a pleasure. unfortunately, we never worked together on commentary again, but this business is the biggest small business ever, so it's bound to happen. But yeah, it was great. I enjoyed working with Pete. Pete's always like a good guy to me. I've designed posters for his promotion actually, for We Are Wrestling. But yeah, that was very interesting for me because at the time I've only done commentary with Joachim, and he was my first ever commentary partner that wasn't Battle Club Pro affiliated.
So a bit of kind of in strange waters, so to speak.
Right.
Because commentary, you have to have a dynamic with the person that you're actually talking to. So
1000%.
you have to find that dynamic.
1000%. And that's why like it's always good to chit chat with your commentary partners before a show. I remember I did a show for a promotion in New Jersey called the IWA in Nutley, and I worked with a commentary partner called JC, which really awesome dude. And I remember just having just a bit of chit chat with him. We really got along very good, and he also had like a degree in, I think, was sports journalism or something like that. I forgot. I can be entirely wrong, but I remember he mentioned something like that. And I'm like, I'm in good hands. We did that show, like, I kid you not, maybe like an hour or two after, just chit chatting, and the chemistry was great. I mean, of course, there's always going to be instances where you're going to have better chemistry with one person over the other,
Right.
But I feel like just getting acquainted with the people and just knowing, or if they have prior work before that, if you check them out, see how they work. I feel like just doing your homework, no matter what your role is in the business, is always important.
Now, obviously being associated with Fallout Shelter, you get, your fair share of guests as well. Paul London actually made an appearance as well. Somebody that you consider, one of your favorites. So what was that?
Absolutely.
Huh?
No, absolutely.
So what was that experience like, interacting with Paul?
So it wasn't on a Battle Club show. It was actually, he did a seminar for Pro Wrestling Junkies earlier this year. I did that. I was a part of that seminar, obviously not in ring, but just being able to sponge all the information I could. He's been in the business for a very long time. He's worked all the way at the top of the mountain, right? Like, so there's a guy that you want to like learn from and pick their brains or whatever. Funny enough, I wasn't the only non-wrestler that did that seminar. And I remember when I found out that there was another person there who also did commentary, telling me like, yeah, I'm just here to sponge all the information. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one. So it was humbling. I grew up watching him. He was, again, going back to me saying I love the cruiserweights. So when I was a kid and he was in the cruiserweight division, then when he was in the tag team division with Brian Kendrick, that I loved all of that. And, here I am in my 30s now saying, like, I actually met him, shook his hand, and picked his brain. And it's super humbling just to be able to do any of that,
Right. Well, another fun moment for you was that you actually got to walk the NWA this year as well, no?
Right. So that was a partnership with Project Codename Wrestling and the NWA. And that was fun. Nerve-wracking, but fun.
Well, what was it like? What was the environment like?
Great. It was a really interesting locker room. Just because, there was a lot of people that, you get to see on a regular basis, like your peers. And then, casually you have Aaron Stevens just walking in the locker room. And then all of a sudden I'm, interviewing him with Papa Don, because I was just doing the backstage interviewing for that show. And even then, Like I remember when TJ Marconi was the one that approached me and asked if I wanted to be a part of. No hesitation, I said yes because it's the NWA.
Right.
Who would say no to that? And I jumped on the opportunity, and I tried to look my best, and just working with people like that, then obviously after every show, if there's like a big name like that in the locker room, and I feel like everybody should do this, just ask how you did and pick their brain. Like you want to learn more, if you want to get better at this stuff. So I remember I spoke to him, I pulled him aside. He, obviously told me what I could work on, what I could do better, gave me a lot of good feedback. And then I just asked questions, because when is the next time you're going to, be in the same room or locker room with Damian Sandow? You know what I mean? So it's, so it was a humbling experience for sure. I had to get my photo up because, you never know when an opportunity like that will come again.
Oh yeah.
This business owes you nothing, and so you do take every moment and you make it a moment, and you take that picture. Always take that picture.
Hell yeah. Now, what were some of the differences you saw working for, NWA proper compared to, working, independents?
So this NWA show was closer to, it wasn't like a studio recording or anything like that. It was more like an independent show under the NWA banner. So it wasn't that much different, with the exception of who's watching. Not every day do you have Thomas Latimer and Aaron Stevens in the locker room. You know what I mean? So I mean, not that you should not give your best no matter who's in the locker room, but the pressure was definitely there, because you don't know what opportunities could have potentially came from the right pair of eyes watching, So like it never should make a difference, but it is in the back of your head.
Now, being a backstage correspondent, that could be just as dangerous as being outside where the ring is. Is there any backstage interviews that you did that really stand out to you?
Like in general,
Yeah, that you did.
well, obviously the Aaron Stevens backstage interview is always going to stand out.
Right.
It's just a pleasure working with a lot of talent, because you see where a lot of like the individual is, and the thought process, and there are people that they need a bit to find the right words, and then there are people that they do this so effortlessly, and it's just so fun to watch. Like if you watch, like I've done a few backstage segments with Darius Carter, and this stuff is just so second nature to him that it is just, I feel like anybody, if you want to get better at your promo work, study Darius Carter. So yeah, I guess his stuff stands out a lot to me. I'm always a big fan of when people decide to like push me around or like ragdoll me. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have a long history with that, Sammy and I. But I always find it funny when they're like, is it okay we put, like, yeah, go ahead. Like I love this stuff, like let's have fun with it. Like there's no point in doing any of it if you're not having fun.
Right. Building potential future matches if you do consider getting into the ring one day.
Oh man. Like if I were a wrestler, who would I want to work?
No, I was just commenting.
I thought you were saying, I thought it was a question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if they're ragdolling you around and bumping you around, then it just gives you fuel to say, oh, if you do become a wrestler, hey, that time you ragdolled me.
I'm gonna have a few matches with Sammy of all the times she's pushed me around. Like, I'll tell you that much. Like, but no, listen, long-term storytelling is a great way to set matches up. So
Absolutely. Um, Another big name that you actually got to work with often was Homicide.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell us about your relationship with Homicide?
Wow. That is that. So I've known Homicide since I like started the business and since like 2018. Obviously, growing up being a fan, if you watch TNA in like the early 2000s or Ring of Honor, you were a Homicide fan. That's just a given. So I was introduced to him from Santana and Ortiz when they were still tag teaming under EYFBO. So through them, and I think we did a show together like around that time period. We exchanged social media, we spoke a bit, and the first time I worked with Homicide, I designed his gear for Bound for Glory. I forget the year, but it was when they did it here in the Melrose Ballroom. The main event was Johnny Impact versus Austin Aries for the world title.
That was the Concrete Jungle Death Match, I want to say?
Yes, correct. Versus, LAX at the time.
Yeah.
So I designed his gear for that show. The Old Man Logan with the Biggie crown. So yeah, that's my design. So I was also like his like guest so I was able to hang out a little bit in the backstage, which I was super new to the business at the time. So for me, it was super humbling that I was even like a part of. I did meet a few people, really cool experience. And then after that, we were just talking about wrestling because there's some brain that anybody should pick is Homicide. And we were just talking about All Japan Wrestling. He's a big fan of All Japan and, Bruiser Brody, Terry Funk. I'm personally a big Bruiser Brody fan. And both Homicide and I were from Brooklyn. So Biggie Smalls is a name that it's synonymous with us Brooklyn people.
Mm-hmm.
And joking around, he's like, yo, you imagine Bruiser Brody with a Biggie crown? And I'm like, I can draw that. Which I did. I ended up doing that design. And he actually was able to reach out to the Bruiser Brody's family to give me permission to just release a small amount of shirts, which to this day is probably my favorite t-shirt design that I've ever done. I still have that t-shirt. I obviously gave him a few. He's worn it many times. There's been just a few names in the business who also got a shirt. And I remember that the first time I sold that shirt was on his 25th anniversary. It was a GCW show in Brooklyn, ironically. And that was when I introduced that shirt. Sold a lot of shirts. Thanked him a billion times after that. It's just always good vibes every time I speak to Homicide. Such a good dude. Such a great person to just have in the business, who's influenced a whole generation of talent, whether it's in ring or outside. But yeah, I always super appreciative for Homicide.
I mean, you mentioned, designing the gear he wore for Bound for Glory, which is
right.
TNA's equivalent to WrestleMania.
Correct.
What was that moment like for you? Like, wow, he's wearing, gear I made on, national TV, preview, worldwide stuff.
It's surreal. Like, just even me talking about it right now, I'm like, wow, I really did that. Like, it's humbling. Again, it's like how I said earlier, just the fact that somebody trusted me enough to design their gear for not just any pay-per-view, but like their biggest pay-per-view. It's humbling. It's great. I just every time I see it on tape, it's, surreal. It's just the best word I can describe.
Now, going from a surreal moment, to our next segment, which is Danny's Bizarre Adventure. You know, in the pro wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
A road story.
Yes. Or it could just be something weird, crazy, and/or bizarre that just happened that is so in general. I mean, you live in New York. Weird, bizarre things happen pretty regularly there.
I mean, you know, it's funny though because I am such an antisocial person. I feel like I tend to stay away from situations where I feel like something potentially weird might happen. I mean, of course, there's always going to be an incident. There's always going to be something, that, good or bad. But I feel, I'm going to go with a funny moment that happened on the road. And I feel like that's probably the best story I can give. So, again, I was very, very new to the business at the time. And I know we were doing a show in New Jersey. I forgot where and I forgot for who. I just remember that it was a few of us in a car, and one of those people in that car was Big Cuzzo.
Okay.
Which I love to death. Cuzzo's one of my favorite people in the business. There's always love for Cuzzo. What I didn't know is that he had narcolepsy, and that in any moment he could fall asleep.
Oh my god.
Yes. Okay. So I didn't know this, and nobody educated me on that either. And in case anyone's ever seen me and Cuzzo, I am probably a fourth of his size. So I'm sitting next to Cuzzo. Everyone's kind of just cracking jokes and talking or whatever, sharing stories. And all of a sudden, I feel all this weight just on me, just laying on me, crushing me. And I'm looking, and it's Cuzzo, knocked out. Asleep. And when I'm over here just dying, he casually just wakes up. And then someone tells me, oh yeah, he does that. Oh, okay. And ever since then I poke fun at him about it. But there's the one person I can always say that I love to death. That's Big Cuzzo. Shout out to Big Cuzzo.
Oh, shout out to Big Cuzzo.
For almost killing me. Yeah, but the sweetest human being ever. It's that guy right there.
All right. Now, talking about, all of the fantastic, artwork designs that you've done in pro wrestling, you are just a fantastic artist, general. You do a lot of graffiti work. Can you tell us about that?
So yeah, but before I even got into wrestling business, I've always been an artist. I've been exhibiting professionally since I was 17. I've done a few art galleries, exhibiting, selling canvases and all that stuff. And of course, just I have a graffiti. Being a New Yorker, escaping graffiti is kind of nearly impossible. But I've always been artistic ever since I was a kid. And just growing up in Brooklyn, you're bound to meet a graffiti artist or two, and it spiked my interest, and it just snowballed from there. But I've also been a huge fan of comic books and anime, and just that scene, that nerdy scene, and I started incorporating the two and mixing it, and that's how I developed my style, which is very graffiti, very comic book. And yeah, and even in like wrestling, I've incorporated a lot of that. But it was an experience. Graffiti is a very complicated scene. A lot of people just think that it's just spray painting on walls and that's it. There's just so much that goes around it. It could get toxic. But I felt like for me that my time actually hanging out in that environment was also very eye-opening to what's like out there, and you're either stuck in the scene or you try to evolve from it, which I feel like a lot of graffiti artists, they're always either stuck or just doing phenomenal things. Like there's a lot of names that, people say and they're like, oh yeah, that's a very successful artist, and they all started off just being street graffiti artists like Banksy, or you see guys like Scene, or you see guys like Keith Haring. Like there's like the names just go on, and I feel like I decided to take that route too, where I mean I'm nowhere near famous, but hopefully one day, before I die. Because that's like the curse of the artist. We become famous after we die. But,
I mean, you're already kind of plenty famous, at least in the wrestling world.
right, but it still feels humbling. I even though I've done a lot of cool things, I don't consider myself like a big name or anything. It's just I'm just a guy that's had the privilege to just share locker rooms with a lot of phenomenal talent.
Unless you really are Banksy.
Yeah, you'll never know.
I feel like it's one thing creating art, and you mentioned, presenting galleries, and whatnot. Another thing is actually presenting your art as well. I can't imagine that, especially at 17, that wasn't nerve-wracking to, present your art and actually have, to some degree people judge it.
Right. Which is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. The first gallery I did was a gallery in Chelsea, I remember, where I thought at the time that I was charging way too much for my painting, and then I saw everybody else's price tag, and I'm like, I'm giving it for free. Like, it definitely was nerve-wracking because, at the time I'm just a kid who knows nothing about like the real world. At least not that world. And then just seeing everybody else's phenomenal artwork, just like ages ahead, beyond better than I am, or I was at the time. But it was definitely a learning experience because now this is like the next time I did it, I knew exactly what to expect. I also learned how many questions people can ask that I was not expecting. I just, growing up, people look at your drawings, oh, that's really cool and good job, and that's kind of it. Where being in that environment, they're asking you like questions that you really have no answer to at 17. Like, what was the thought process behind this? Or, asking you how you felt and all sorts of like, I just drew this because I thought it was cool. But it was definitely a learning experience. I also realized how much people are willing to spend in art, which is mind-boggling. But I remember I had I forget, it wasn't big at all. It was probably the size of a poster, maybe a little bit smaller. And I remember I was selling it for $100 because in 2009 I thought that $100 was a lot. And when obviously somebody picked it up, and which I was super like humble about too, just because, well, just comparing what everyone else is selling here, phenomenal artwork, and somebody bought my painting, I thought it was really cool. But definitely a learning experience. Everything for me that day, it was just me learning new things.
What's a piece of art that you were the most proud of, or that you thought was maybe your best work?
Oh man, that's a very complicated question. There's a lot of things I've been proud of. And it's hard because, believe it or not, I don't like a lot of the stuff I draw. Like, I find something wrong with everything.
You're your own worst critic.
Right. But I feel like my best or most proud pieces that I've worked on ever were things that I see everybody else enjoy. Like, the Battleweight Championship. That's a piece of artwork that I created that I'm very, very proud of, just because not only did I like it a lot, not only did I like what it represented, I saw how much everyone kind of just loved it. Just congratulating me for the Battle Club X logo at the Fallout Shelter, another piece of artwork that I'm super proud of. There's this one drawing in my sketchbook that I have. It has this one character from this comic called the Prophet, and I literally used both pages for that one. It came out super, super detailed, and I'm very proud of that one. Man, I did this one Exorcist drawing, really loved. But that's also my favorite horror film, so I guess that a little bias on that one too. I just feel like every championship I've designed, no matter the promotion, I'm super proud of, just because I like what it represents. I guess those would be my answers. It's a lot of answers. I don't think I can choose one specific favorite.
No, fair enough. Now, what is on your mind right now to make, or something that you want to make but just haven't yet?
Oh man. It's funny because like inspiration just comes randomly and naturally. So like at the moment, my mind is blank when it comes to what I want to do next. But then in an hour, I'll see something and then be like, yes, I want to do that. Like, but that's just how crazy my brain can be. I do have a few projects coming up art-wise. That at the moment I'm not in liberty to discuss for certain promotions.
Okay.
But by next month, we're gonna see a lot of cool things that I'm gonna be creating. So stay tuned.
Well, you mentioned it a bit earlier. Can you tell us about your love of anime?
I like a lot of for me, if it's weird, it's good.
Okay.
Like sure, there's always like the mainstream stuff, and I like those too. But like my favorite anime of all time, like series wise, is always gonna be Death Note because of how crazy and dark it is. And I'm a big horror movie fan. I love everything horror, and that had a mix of everything. The storytelling was great. There's like regular anime that's nothing crazy, but I like a lot. There's one called Air Gear that I really, really liked. And I feel like it reminded me of this one video game I used to play as a kid called Jet Set Radio. And that was just super similar to that, so I liked that anime a lot. I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan. Spirited Away, probably like one of my favorite films in general, not just anime. Everything. I feel like I've seen every Studio Ghibli film. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his work. Of there's another one that damn, what's the name of that anime that Wolf's Rain. I feel like not a lot of people talk about that anime, and it was a really good anime. And it's not even a long anime. I can't watch long anime. My attention span is just not that great. But it's a very short anime. Samurai Champloo, another short anime that I really liked. There's a few. I mean, I feel like I can go all day just talking anime. I'm a big superhero fan, so My Hero Academia has to be there too. That was definitely one of my favorites.
Are you reading the manga or exclusively anime?
So, I haven't read a manga in a very long time, admittedly.
Fair enough.
Just because I'm a big comic book collector, and I feel like the only manga that I picked up recently are the Junji Ito ones. For obvious reasons, right? Because it's Junji Ito. And I feel like his best work is the manga. He has really good anime and it's watchable. There's the one on Netflix that's good, but nothing like his manga. But I haven't really read manga in general in a very long time, besides Junji Ito stuff.
Funny enough, I'm exclusively anime, and more recently, sooner rather than later, I actually have to read a manga to finish the story because the anime didn't finish the story. So that's something
That actually happened to me not too long ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware of Claymore.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one that came in mind. Claymore.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happened. I think the artist died or something, and then they just never, or the studio, I forgot what happened. That they were just like, it's just never happening.
Yeah. So
And
I randomly found Claymore on one of the stations, and I absolutely fell in love with it because I thought it was just a great storytelling.
it's great story. It's such an underrated anime.
I know, and I was satisfied. I liked the ending, but of the anime, but obviously I wanted more. I wanted to see what happens with Claire and Priscilla.
No, and then
So they
I
said,
even found out that there's like men Claymore now. Like, there's just so much more that happened after that, and we'll just never see it in anime form.
yeah. So basically, I have to get the manga, read the manga, and find out what happens. So kind of
That makes
sucks.
two of us.
But hey, again, I'm not. I haven't read a comic book in forever, so to go back to it is actually seems fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I love
Um,
comics. I'm actually a big comic book reader, as opposed to manga.
what are you reading now?
Oh man, there's a brand new story that DC just launched not too long ago called DCKO, where it's almost like a video game where they're making all the superheroes and supervillains kind of like fight each other in tournament form.
Hmm. So
So
basically, anime.
right, so but it's more like a Street Fighter video game.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the winner just goes to the next round, the next round, the next round, and like the matchups that they've been having. It's like watching wrestling. It's like watching the King of the Ring. Put it that way.
I got you.
There's an actual bracket that they're following. And, just watching these superheroes fight, they have 3 rounds, just like a fighting game. And it's such a fun read to watch. And I mean, it's still ongoing, but so far, I've been enjoying the fights.
Well, what's your go-to? What's your favorite? Uh, let's call it trade paperback.
Oh man, I have a few.
Fair enough.
So I feel that Batman movies haven't been given justice because of how much better the comic books are.
100%.
I There's this one Batman story called The White Knight. If anyone ever picks that story up, it's such a phenomenal read. Obviously, there's The Dark Knight, there's The Killing Joke, there's Hush, everything from that time period, Batman related, Night of Owls, all of that stuff's great. I also my favorite superhero is the Green Lantern. I know a lot of people give me a lot of shit for that, but his The Brightest Day and Darkest Night was probably one of my favorite arcs in comics. Period. Something not superhero related that I feel like even if you want to pick something else up that's really good. It's a pro wrestling themed comic called Do a Powerbomb by Daniel Warren Johnson, who is a phenomenal artist, a phenomenal storyteller. He is also a big pro wrestling fan, which, you can tell by the way he did this story. I feel like it's probably one of the best modern day comics in the last 5 years. And it's really, really good read. I don't know a soul that read it that didn't enjoy it. I'll just put it like that. Man, there's a few. Ah, from the top of my head, those are my favorites. So let's just leave it at that. I can talk comics all day.
I mean, same
yeah.
here. That being said, is there one that is like a grail, so to speak, that you haven't got your hands on that, is somewhat elusive, let's say?
Oh man. Because I do have a lot of the comics that I've wanted, but I'm not like an expensive comic book collector. Like I don't need like the first print of Superman. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so I'm not that style of comic book collector. I feel like I'm more like that with Pokemon cards than I am with comics. But Holy Grail for me, and it's funny because it's not an expensive comic book. It's really not. And it's funny, I had this conversation with a friend not too long ago. But it is the issue, it's a Green Lantern issue where he kills all the Green Lanterns and collects 10 rings that he turns into Parallax. And just like the visuals and everything. And I had that comic book when I was a kid. But obviously when you're a kid, you don't take care of anything.
Right.
I don't even know what a comic book is. But I have to get it now. And I just haven't because I always forget. But it's one of those things where that, for me, that's such a pivotal time in Green Lantern history that no one cares about except for me.
All right. Well, I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say, funny enough, actually named after Mike Law himself. So let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh man, oh dude, you're killing me. I'm a huge music fan. Like now I have to go through my whole mental music catalog.
Pull up that good Spotify if you need to.
You know what? I am gonna pull up Spotify.
Cheat sheets are allowed on this one.
Yes, so I feel that there's gonna be a lot of Motorhead on this on this soundtrack. I feel that. Give me 1 second, because I forget the name of this song. Okay, so there's gonna be a song by Chemical X called "Impulse Decisions." That has to be there. I feel that there's going to be. Writing on the Walls by Under Oath has to be there. That's 2, right? You said 3.
Yeah.
And I feel that the third one's probably going to be Lithium by Nirvana.
Okay. Do you lock in those answers?
Yeah, you know what? I'm very happy with those answers.
I just asked because you seemed a little unsure.
Okay, so the thing is with me, I am a big music buff. Probably more than comics, believe it or not. So like I own like a whole vinyl record collection type thing. Like it's so I love music. So you're telling me to narrow my whole like music knowledge to 3 songs, like
yeah, I got you.
yeah. So but I really like those songs. I'm very happy with those songs.
Okay. Well, it's definitely a solid 3 picks. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first. Then you write the script, and then you go the casting. Who plays you, and you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh man, I don't know anyone that's in Hollywood that looks like me. I don't know. And it's funny because I'm one of those people that they'll see an actor and be like, "Oh, look, it's that guy from Harry Potter." Like I'll never really know their name.
That's fair.
But
people.
it's yeah, and And I don't know. I don't think there's an actor that I would be like, wow, nailed it. There's not a lot of 5'4" Hollywood actors that would play a struggling artist.
I mean, height is relative. We could get somebody 6'4" to play 5'4".
Yeah, I guess. Well, there is the guy that plays Harry Potter, right?
Daniel Radcliffe.
There you go. He's. I think he's my height, or around my height. I just know he's not tall, like how everyone thought. So yeah, I'll just give him, curly hair and beard, and he can play me, I guess.
Okay, Daniel Radcliffe, casted.
He's comic book accurate.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
There's so many people in my life that I wouldn't even know how to choose 3. You know what? Those people would most likely be in the wrestling business, and they can play themselves. So anyone there, right? I feel like, especially, this is in the end of the day, is a wrestling podcast, and wrestling's a huge part of my life. I feel like if there's 3 people that were super influential in my wrestling career, that would be Homicide, TJ Marconi, and Joaquin Morales.
Okay.
They can play themselves, because I am terrible with actors. I'm not a big movie buff like that, and know enough actors and their names.
Hey, I'm not gonna not tell Homicide he can't play himself.
That's also very true, which I don't think there's a lot of people that could play him perfectly anyway, because he's such a character.
Alright. This is sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster to say the least. And you
Right.
could pre-order the tickets now. Right. Onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Okay, so I'm going to make your controversial question a lot more controversial.
Okay.
And this is the part where everyone's gonna hate me.
Okay.
I don't like cheese at all. I don't like how it tastes. I don't like the texture. I don't like cheese. So I don't even eat pizza.
Okay.
So the controversy, the question stands, and it's all the same to me, because I'm not gonna eat the pizza with or without the pineapple. Which sucks, because New York allegedly has the best pizza, right? And then there's this one born and raised New Yorker that doesn't even eat it.
Yeah, I would definitely say you're in the minority there.
To say the least.
Anti-cheese. Wow. Did not see that coming.
Right.
Alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Oh man, I love Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is always going to be Tyranitar. I used to play Pokemon competitively, and that was my ace. And I read a lot of really strong Tyranitars. So, yeah, it's Tyranitar and Espeon.
Okay. Now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
I do not.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a dog can't spell.
Okay.
Yes. We love the late great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive.
Yes.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever commentate a match between a person and a rock. Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical rock.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason for that is because it'll be a challenge and it would push my abilities as a commentator. And if you can commentate a match between a person and a rock, you can commentate any match.
I would definitely say so. That just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Arm Man
Nice.
match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Wow,
Yes,
that's a fun fact.
very fun fact. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh man. You know, it's funny because you never really know where the business is going to take you in a year, let alone 5. But hopefully, I am either promoting my own promotion or being a part of helping Battle Club reach a higher level. Of course, just adding accomplishments to my wrestling resume, whether it's designing or doing any other work. I'm the sky's the limit. There's just so much to do, and hopefully it's all just bigger, better things. And never say never. Maybe you will see me in the ring. Who knows?
Hell yeah. And you genuinely want to promote.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember earlier this year for April Fools, I announced that I was going to start running a fake wrestling promotion, and everyone fell for it, and they were so happy about it. And I broke a lot of hearts that day when I had to tell them an April Fool's joke. So that was definitely interesting, but that also showed me that, hey, maybe it is something I can do, and people will be on board with it, you know?
Yes, because I'm sure you don't have enough gray hairs as it is.
Listen, I always tell people that in order to be in the wrestling business, you have to love it, because if you don't, there's no way any of this is enjoyable.
Oh yeah. All right. Since we're nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Sure.
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Bret the Him and Heart.
Worst wrestler.
Oh man, worst wrestler, Eva Marie.
That is the correct answer.
Yes.
You're commentating the main event of WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who are the 2 combatants?
Do they have to be part of their current roster right now?
Anyone, any time period, anywhere.
Oh, any time period. Okay. Bret the Him and Heart versus Eddie Guerrero.
Hell yeah.
There is no better match ever.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
I would come out to the Brutes theme song.
Hell yeah. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Real.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Very true.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
I'm pretty sure it has seeds, right? So it's a fruit.
Is that your final answer?
It is my final answer.
And you would be correct. It does have seeds.
Okay. I paid attention in school sometimes.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Where it does not show any butt cheek.
So full coverage.
Yes.
Gotcha. And Our last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Matt, not in a supermarket. I had a full conversation about Darby Allin in a comic book store, which makes sense if you think about it.
Yes, it makes too much sense.
Yes.
But in the supermarket, it's a no, correct?
No, it's a no.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
So, social media, it's going to be Danny Your Nemesis on Instagram and TikTok. If you click the link on my bio, you can find everything else, including my merch shop. Get yourself something nice for the holidays. And yeah, that's kind of it. Danny Your Nemesis.
All right. And you don't have to go looking for it and type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt. Or anything else he's selling. I'm sure there's a lot that this man is selling. Buy a piece of art.
Yes.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Yes, sir.
For our very special guest, Danny Nemesis, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling with
The Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.